Your Chanel cosmetics, 80% are made in China and cost only $5. They just add the logo in France and charge you 10 to 40 times the price. Close your eyes. If your Chanel cosmetics says made in China, will it feel cheaper? It's not about quality, it's about brand washing. Interesting fact, who makes Chanel cosmetics, 42% are crafted by Chinese artisans. We don't do cheap goods, we do understand luxury.
I know for a fact that if my name wasn't written on the side of this bag and I wore this out and about, somebody would think that it's Celine. They would think it's Givenchy. They would think it's a French brand. Now, I have a French taste, but I ain't crazy, all right? I'm not going to have my made there because I already know how it's going to go. So I make my goods in China because I want to be able to give my consumer a more competitive price. And I know that's the place that I can do that. But it has nothing to do with being cheap. If you are a good designer, you know great quality, and you are good enough at your technical design, you can make the same thing. My bags are not made in mass manufacturing warehouses. They are made by individual artisans. One technician touches this one bag from start to finish. And you can tell because the detailing is extremely fine. And of course, it's unique and beautiful. I have gone to China 3 to 4 times a year for 10 years straight. Now I only go about once a year. But every single trip that I have ever taken, I walk away with a wealth of knowledge all the time. And the first thing that I've always noticed about the Chinese culture is that they are incredibly into details. Every small, minute thing matters. And that's perfect for me because I'm a Cancer and I love details. We need to also remember that the Chinese culture is 4,000 years old. Their dynasties go back to 1600 BCE, and some of the same skills that they had in 1600 BCE, they still utilize today. What does that tell you? That means if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They know what they're doing, and they get bad PR as constantly being told that they have things that are cheap. And yes, they do. They absolutely have a plethora of things that are cheap. But a lot of those cheap items are because of their clients. Their clients are people who want mass manufactured products. They care more about volume than they do quality control. I would say someone like Forever 21, H&M, Shein, Level Clothing, they're not using mulberry silk, they're going to use polyester. They're not using viscose, they're going to use a nylon blend, right? So they're not using the most premium quality. They're using run-of-the-mill stuff, and their objective is just to get as many out there as they possibly can. The reason why I showed this picture is this was on my first trip to China, and I remember going exploring, and I walked by and I saw all these vases and I was just blown away. It doesn't look like it from this photo, but they're about, this smaller one here is probably about 5.5 feet tall. It was almost at my eye level, and I'm 5'10". So it's very large. And every single one of these were hand painted. And I asked the guy, I said, how much? And so he writes on the calculator and he shows me that it was $10,000. Now you would think this is in China. Why is it $10,000? Because this is their trade. This is what they do. These are not made by a machine. These are handmade porcelain. Do you not realize that the best porcelain in the world comes from where? Who? China. Same thing with silk. I mean, we can go on and on about the different products that they have within their country that are often sought after, but it's really sad that people constantly forget that they are an actual legacy dynasty of people who care about details. Once upon a time, I used to design glass ornaments, and I loved it. I thought it was the most fascinating thing ever. And when I was visiting this factory, I fell in love with the artistry of glass making. It really is like nothing else. And I remember thinking to myself, we could never be America, a mass manufacturing country like this, because we don't have enough people that actually care to learn the art form. It's not just a job. You actually need to be a creative person, but I digress. So anyway, I'm in this factory and I look over and I see these master cartons stacked up to the left and they all say Dior. And I thought, like Dior? Then I look over to the right and I see these little white boxes. And on the side of the white boxes, it says Christian Dior Paris. And I said, what is this? And she said, oh, Karika, that is for Christian Dior, is our client. I said, you're what? And she said, yes, we make ornaments for Christian Dior. They give them away as gifts, holiday gifts. And I was like, really? That is so interesting. Because they're going to be out here talking about we are the best, we're up here, blah, blah, blah. But then you're utilizing Chinese labor and you lie and don't tell people. I also noticed that it's a really big popular trend on websites. You will see this all the time where somebody will write imported. When it says country of origin, it says imported or PRC, which stands for People's Republic of China. You're ashamed to say China? Did you know that the Great Wall of China is 13,171 feet long? It goes all the way from China into Russia, built by hand. It's incredible. They really are an amazing, talented, advanced culture of people. I'm always blown away with their new construction, like some of the buildings that they have that I'm just blown away. I'm like, they are living so far in advance, and everybody in America thinks that they're the shit ass place. I'm like, but you need to go over there and take a visit. Actually, some of you should stay here. That's okay. Some of you don't need to go. But if you do go, make sure that you fly business. Do not fly economy. I do not recommend. And also, if you ever go to China, do not, I repeat, do not drink Chinese Red Bull. You will be up for 3 days, but the espresso is good. The moral of the story is a lot of these luxury companies utilize Chinese labor and they just slap their name on it. And you have been conditioned to thinking that anything that says China is less than, when in reality, a lot of your luxury goods are in fact made in China. You're welcome.